Welcome, everybody, to the Just Add Bourbon podcast. I'm Jimmy Don Kerr.
I'm J.D.
And it is another beautiful Sunday evening here in the hills of Eastern Kentucky. And J.D., it's turned into a freaking winter wonderland in my house today.
Man, this is beautiful. Like, I don't know what we did to deserve this weather, but we need to keep on doing it because it's beautiful out.
No, it is. It's been nice out all weekend, and all of a sudden I come in this weekend, Friday evening, and Amy says, we're decorating for Christmas. The girls want to decorate for Christmas, and so it's a winter wonderland in here. I went and picked up a 12-foot Christmas tree yesterday, and we get a live tree every year. Right. So, and I go over to Davis's Produce and pick one up. Man, that thing is a beast. We unraveled it today. Granddad and I, it's really kind of a joke every year because one year you bring that thing in, right? And there's a stand you got to put it on, get it fixed up. Well, then you got to lift it up. And it's insanely heavy. It's a 12-foot Christmas tree. And it's insanely heavy. And one year, if I could have this on video, like I would have sent it to Funniest Videos. I got it up on one side and I was hanging on to it. And Granddad hadn't got it bolted just right on the bottom. So it fell, and it fell on top of him. And basically it was laying on top of him and his arm and legs were sticking out from underneath the tree. So, yeah. Go ahead.
They don't even put up a Christmas tree last year.
Well, we never put one up, right, until after Thanksgiving, because that's kind of what Amy's mom always did, was after Thanksgiving, and so we never did. But because of the year we've had, and now Kentucky's shutting back down, and all this, the kids were just like, "Can we please put up the Christmas decorations?" And we were like, "Absolutely, let's do it."
Yeah, that's interesting, man. Like to see people's different traditions, Here's something, man. I hope whoever invented Elf on the Shelf gets gonorrhea and dies. I'll just be honest with you.
Oh, dude, I told you that is I'm so glad that
you're almost done with it, right?
Oh, we're done with it. Thank God, because I don't consider myself a creative per se, but I had to get really creative with that Elf on the Shelf, and I dreaded that every year, man. At first, it was cool because the kids really believed in the Elf on the Shelf, right? So it was fun. They got excited every morning to go hunt for it. Well, as they got older, the jig was up. They were afraid to tell us the jig was up, but the jig was up. And so I still had to do that crap, and it used to wear me out. I would love to meet that person. Love to.
Yeah, I remember doing that stuff too, man, and the kids being all excited. I've had conversations with them since then. It's like, we really, really believed that. And, they was really all in on it for a long time.
No, the
kids, I'm so happy. I remember how happy I was when the day we actually done. I was like, this is fake. It was like, oh, really?
Oh,
and
really?
We're like, yeah, thank God that's over with. Let's move on from that.
Look, mine got to the point where, and Amy, I don't know what she was thinking, but because she wasn't having to be the one to hide it. We ended up with 2, Jingles and Snowflake. I had 2. So it got to the point where I had to hide 2 of them. And it wasn't just being creative in, trying to figure out a way to hide one. Now I had to incorporate the other one like they were friends.
Right.
And so it was, I don't know, man, it wore me out. So anyway, all right. So we've got some good stuff to talk about this week. We're going to kind of start with JD's high school football team. The season ended Friday night in a loss to Shelby Valley, 29-22 in the first round of the playoffs. JD, let's talk a little bit about, just really the season in retrospect. Was it a disappointment? Did you feel like you did some good things? Of course, you were disappointed in the loss the other night. But let's talk a little bit about the game and then talk about the season as a whole.
Oh, the game, man. As far as the game goes, we ended up cutting them back. They scored 49 points against us last time we played, and they scored 29 this last, Friday night. That didn't have accident. We had a good game plan going in, and they had a good game plan for us too defensively. It was just a good football game, man. It was on TV. They're a good football team. They're well coached. Got some good athletes. I still feel like we're the better football team, man. Honest to God. I know we've lost them twice, but we drove the ball down their throat all night there tonight, and we stone cold them on defense a few times. We ended up throwing an interception, pick six, 100-yard pick six, ended up costing us the game.
So I was watching a little bit live, Stephanie Proctor was going live, and so I was watching it on there, and it looked like – and I was having to kind of come in and out, but that's the reason I didn't come. I had some stuff I had to do, so I was kind of going in and out with it. And it looked like they jumped up on us early,
Yeah.
And then we held them and got ourselves back in it. And it looked like we were down on the 5-10 yard line at the very end of the game with a chance to score and potentially win, and just didn't score.
Yeah, that's what happened, man. They finally figured out what we was doing, I guess, and that's what we was rolling with at that point. We toasted the ball night with those plays, and we were going to live or die with those plays, and we ended up getting beat by it. But that's how you play football, man. You can't go away from what's working. And, once they finally figure it out, sometimes it just stomps you. So that's
right.
what happened. We called a play. We called a slant on third down. About to score. We threw it. If we get a good ball right there, we score a touchdown, win. But we didn't have a good ball, so we ended up losing. That's how it goes, man. You gotta call the plays that are there, and that's what we did. We felt like we called a good game offensively and defensively, and just happened. The chips fell where they was, man. Where they fell.
Well, let's talk about the season as a whole. Like, how do you and the coaching staff feel? Like I said, you hate that it ended the way it did, but having to play through COVID and all the restrictions that we're on and having to quarantine every other week. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like everybody's having to quarantine every other day. Just talk about the season as a whole. Was it different than any other football season you've ever had?
Oh, man, it's been a roller coaster. It's been a roller coaster year, roller coaster of emotions, from are we even going to play, to are we going to play, there could be people, there's so many questions floating around all year long, so much uncertainty from week to week. We ended up playing, not playing 3 games on our schedule.
Right.
So it was tough. It's tough for the kids, man. These are high school kids we're talking about, and it's hard to adjust on the fly like that. And,
yeah.
But they've done a good job, man. As a coach staff, we feel like we got a lot done, a lot accomplished. Feel like we got a good crew coming up. The talent coming up is pretty good, and we feel excited about where the direction of the program is going. But I will say this: I told Coach Muncie today or yesterday, this is my last season. I'm stepping down as defense coordinator and turn that job over to somebody else. I had a good time with it, good run. It's 4 years, but I put a lot of time and work into this, and it's time for me to step away and let somebody else do it.
I didn't realize you were stepping away. How come? Just kind of done with it? And
well, I love it, man. I love it, but I just have other things I want to do.
Sure.
And it's just such a big commitment of time that I'm just let somebody else handle it. And I'll always be a Cardinal man. I love Cardinal football. Love those guys. Love those boys. Love that coaching staff. But it's just time for me to move on and pursue other interests.
Well, that's cool, man. I didn't know that. That's the first I'd heard of that. So right here on the podcast. But no, and I hate that. And I know you loved it. And I know you got an eye for it as far as coaching that defense. And our defense have gotten better every year since you had been there. And so, yeah, man. Well, I hate that. But I'm also happy for you if you're, ready to move on to some other things and try out some other opportunities. So that's cool.
Yeah, what's interesting, man, is like I took this defense over 4 years ago and I started running this 4-2-5, and nobody around was running it. Nobody was around running it. And now every week we play somebody, they're running the same defense.
Run the same defense.
So that's what happens, though. You want to mimic success, and we was having success. They were having a hard time, blocking what we were doing, as far as X's and O's goes, the scheme. And so people started using our scheme, and it's like I said, they're going to mimic success, and that's a compliment to me, man. That they did that. So.
Absolutely, man. I said, well, you look around football in every conference, in every league, even in the NFL, it's a copycat league, man. When something works, people copycat it because it works.
Right.
And, and that's the highest form of a compliment is for somebody to copy what you're doing. So that's cool, man. Well, I'm glad, like I said, I hate that the season's over. I hope we'd got another game in because I was wanting to, I hated that I had to miss the other night, but I couldn't come. I had some other stuff come up that I had to take care of business-wise. So, but anyway, all right, so let's talk a little bit, and we're going to talk very briefly about this because Kentucky got shellacked. Alabama whipped their ass, and I don't know any other way to say it. And early in that game, like we were playing with them, like we were driving on them, and we kept shooting ourselves in the foot. It was crazy. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's 38-3. It was crazy. And then they just put the gas on. Saban did not let off. And I truly thought we were past that as a football program. Like, I actually thought we were past that, getting just beat down like that. But Alabama beat us down. Now, we had a bunch of key players out because of COVID. Our punter, who's the best punter in the country, who pins teams back, probably our best back. We had a lot of guys out, but, really at the first of the game, I thought, oh, hell, we're going to play with these guys. And then they turned it on.
And they said, nope.
Yeah, sorry, Kentucky.
So what's funny is, like, I actually didn't watch the game because I figured that we were going to get belted, honestly. Because it is Alabama, at Alabama. I didn't expect 63-3, though, honestly. So I was out at dinner last night, and I seen somebody put on Facebook, well, at least Kentucky played with Alabama today. So I went to check the score, and I was like, what are you talking about?
Right.
What are you talking about, bro?
Yeah, they were probably being a little sarcastic because
they were definitely, but they had me. And for a minute, I was like, oh, my God, we may have played with Alabama.
Yeah, we played well, yeah. No, it was, man. It was tough. Yeah, no, it was tough. So
hold on before we move on. Like, that's what happens, though, man. When you play a team like Alabama, who's so deep and so talented, versus a team like Kentucky, who, although we're deeper and talented than we've been in years, the comparison is still way off, and we still have a long, long way to go. And we're going to get there, man. I think we got the right guy in charge, the right people in place, and it may take a few more years. And it's hard to recruit against Alabama. But you got to remember, man, we're recruiting against these SEC teams, these schools that traditionally are bringing 4 and 5 stars in all over the place. Everybody on the bench is a 4 or 5 star recruit. They could come to Kentucky and start right now,
right?
And so that's what depth does. We played with you good for that quarter. Second quarter, they start a little separation. Third and fourth quarter, they just start belting you.
God, I mean, they just beat us down, man. I said the end of that game was so hard to watch. Like, I eventually turned it off. I was like, I mean, they're running through us like we were butter. I mean, it was crazy.
And this just in, Nick Saban's pretty good too.
Yeah. Alabama's a pretty good football team. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, JD. So let's kind of get into the meat of the conversation this week. We've got 2 or 3 topics that we're going to go through. And guys, of course, you can comment here. JD and I can see them, and we want you to be a part of the discussion. So make sure you throw your comments up there, and if we see one we like, we'll throw it up on the screen. So first thing, let's talk about something local. The old middle school / high school sold. The Board of Education sold it.
Yep.
And it was purchased by the land agent for a local addiction recovery center. Is it ARC?
It is.
Now, we have interviewed ARC in our opioid series that we did. And I know when we first started, we were like, man, this is great. Yeah, this is good. I like what these people are doing. And I think you said it best. We can agree that it is great to help people. If you have an addiction and you're struggling, we learned a lot through that, what people struggle with and what people go through. And addiction recovery care was one of the first people we talked to, and we had a great conversation with Matt Brown there, and I was really impressed with what they were doing and his story. Well, since then, there's been some things that have been troubling. I guess that's the best way to say it, is it's troubling. Down in Louisa, there has been a massive increase in the homeless population. And that increase has come from people, this is my understanding of it. People's insurance essentially runs out. And once their insurance runs out, they just kick them out. And they'll take them up and just drop them off in a busy area. And that would be up there in that Walmart, the new Zip Zone, Arby's, all that area right there. And there has been people stealing cars. They're just standing out there. They come and they loiter at the businesses. But ultimately, there's been a major increase in homelessness in Lawrence County, and that's very troubling. And it's troubling because now they're going to put a facility here in our county. And I understand why the Board of Education sold the building. That's fine. You don't necessarily get to choose who they sell it to. I mean, they need the money. They had an asset they could sell. I don't have a problem with that. I don't even have a problem with ARC themselves going there. But I have a concern that you're going to see our homeless population rise in this county, which you could see crime. And I don't want anybody to be homeless. Like, I just want to see if their insurance runs out, I guess it's a business. I thought it was there for care and helping people get past their addictions. But I guess there's a business aspect to it as well. And once their insurance runs out, I would like to see them at least give them a bus ticket back to where they live so they can get back home and they don't end up being here. What's your thoughts on it, JD?
My thoughts are, man, anybody out there that wants to get treatment and help, I'm all for that. I think ARC is a great place to do those things. I think they have a proven track record. They're able to help you they're able to get you the help and the counseling you need to kick those habits. But I also feel like they should have a commitment to the communities that they're in, not to plague those communities with people who are homeless or criminal element even. Those are not going to be the best people in the world who just had a tough break and end up homeless. Those are people who are, addicted to drugs and alcohol, and then will do anything in this world to get those drugs and alcohol. And so the element that the homelessness that would be the homeless, population is concerning. I've heard a lot of bad things coming out of Louisiana, man. I don't know how much of it's true. I don't.
Yeah, I don't either. And,
I know if people bring in criminal element to this community, then we're going to have some problems. I'm 100% straight dead with you. We're going to have some big problems, and I know those guys. We're going to have problems, guys. And if there's anybody on ARC right now watching this, please comment in right now and talk about it, guys. We want to see people recover. We do. I mean, I know Jimmy Don does too. We are passionate about people finding the help they need. But I'm also passionate about my community not being bombarded with a criminal element or homelessness. Don't want those things. And I hope ARC makes a commitment to us as they come in that if somebody does, leave the facility, you don't take them and drop them off at the local, grocery store.
Yeah.
You get them a bus ride home or wherever they're at, wherever they're from. And I hope that's what happens.
Yeah, because
I am concerned.
I'm concerned too. Like I'm so impressed with them early on, like when we were doing that interview series. And like you said, I know those guys, man. I know them well.
Right.
And think a lot of all of them.
Right.
And they're running a business, and they've ran a successful business. That thing has grown. They employ a lot of people. They're employing people that are in recovery. All those things are great.
I don't have a problem with them making a profit on it. I think it's great.
Me neither. I don't
model.
either. That's business, man. Right. But at the end of the day, if somebody's insurance runs out or for whatever reason that person needs to leave the program, I think you have a moral responsibility to get them back home. Because they showed up at your place for some reason. You took them in because you were going to get paid. That's fine. But you have a moral responsibility to your community and to that individual to get them back where they came from so that they have a chance, so that they don't end up homeless, so they don't end up robbing somebody. I mean, hell, they dropped one off down at the Zip Zone in Louisiana, and they stole the car out of the parking lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
So, yeah, Michael, that's a good question. Where's the closest bus station? I haven't seen one. Anyone ride a Greyhound over 20 years?
I know Huntington's got one.
Yeah, Huntington's got a Greyhound station.
It's not that far away.
Yeah, and that's not that far away. And even at that, dude, I mean, have somebody give them a ride. Yep. Call some family, call somebody, meet them halfway, do whatever you got to do to get that person out of the area and back to their home. And that way they don't end up stuck here and sleeping under a bridge, or like you said, because if they're still addicted, they're going to do anything they can to get their drugs. And that's sad, but we know that's the case. And so it concerns me a little bit. Don't have anything against the guys running it. Don't have a thing in this world against the Board of Education for selling the building. But I do hope that they take the responsibility for this community, because this is a small, quiet community. We don't have a real high crime rate. You don't, or at least you don't hear about it anyway, if we do. And what I've heard out of Lawrence County is not good about what's going on down there. And I just don't want to see that thing replicated here. Right.
I think that's the main thing, man. I hope, and when I'm going to find out, we'll find out firsthand if what's going on in Lawrence County is, if there's anything to that or not. I hope there's nothing to it at all. I hope it's all gossip and hearsay. But I'm hearing an awful lot.
Yeah, I am too.
Like I said, I think a lot of Matt, and I think a lot of Tim, I think a lot of those guys. I think they got a good business model. I don't mind if they're making profit on helping people with addiction. I have a major problem if they're just sending people out on the streets. Major problem.
Yeah.
And if it happens in my community, we're all going to have a major problem.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. I don't disagree. Like I said, we don't fault those guys for what they're doing. We want people to recover. That's what we want. And they have a pretty good approach to it based on what I can tell. I mean, they really do. They have a good approach to the program. Well, and I hope they're successful. I want them to be successful, and I want them to be successful here, helping people get clean.
Absolutely.
But you said it best. We don't want what we hear is happening in other places to happen in our community. And if it does, they might have a problem. I mean, really, they may have one.
No, they do have one.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's get to the next topic. That was kind of local. So JD and I wanted to talk about that a little bit. The next topic is something JD said at the end of the show last week. And so I'm going to let you kind of say, it was basically the idea of if they kick out any of these votes, that you think that would be the end of our democracy as it is. Hold on one second. I work in Louisa. Hold on. Let me put that up. Yeah. I work in Louisa. I never realized there were as many homeless people. I see so much. I've seen so many people benefit from the program as well. 10% there should be something to get them somewhere right. I agree, Ashley. I think that's right. There should be something built into your model, your business model, to get those people out of town. If the insurance doesn't work out or if the time runs out, whatever the case may be, like I said, it is still a business. You're in the business of helping people. So there should be that help doesn't end once the insurance ends. It should be getting them back to where they need to be. And if they can get themselves straightened out and get back to you for the treatment, then that would be great. But I agree, Ashley. I think it's a great comment. So JD, jumping back over to, you kind of made the statement that, and it was right at the end of the show, and I was like, ooh, that's a good topic. So, you've still got the thing going on. Trump's battling in these states, saying that the election's been a fraud, et cetera. To this point, nothing's come up. Right. You've gotten, a lot of accusations, but when Trump's lawyers actually go into court, they do not say that there's actual fraud. Right. They just think that there's inconsistencies in the election. And your comment was, well, if they take these votes away, our democracy's over anyway. And so kind of go into that a little bit, and let's kind of wrap that out.
Well, I feel like if the reason we have elections, is because we're a democracy. We want to choose our leaders. We're actually a Democratic Republic, but we want our leaders to be chosen by the people. We don't want our leaders to choose other leaders. And we want, we want representation. We don't want taxation without representation. Those things, go back to common sense and Thomas Paine in the late 1700s. If we throw out votes, the one thing that your dad instilled in you, I know from a young age, about how important it was to vote. If we take people's votes and tell them that their vote doesn't matter, and then we start choosing our leaders based on, legislators get to pick our presidents, then democracy's over with. We're done. You can throw all the votes out because it's never going to matter again who you vote for, because they're going to just, bundle it up with red tape and pick who they want anyway. They're talking about, Brad said it before on this show about leaders being selected, not elected. And that's what you would definitely have if they throw these votes out.
All right. So I agree with everything that you said. Okay. But let me throw this at you. And I think one word that you left out there was key, is that's legal votes. Right. So say they go in and say they actually find the machines were rigged. Say they go in and they find 500,000 ballots that were fraudulent, that were actually fraudulent ballots, and right. They kick those out, and all of a sudden Trump is now the winner of the presidency. Do you still feel that way, that that's the end of the democracy, or do you feel like that is what the system is supposed to do? No,
I think any fraudulent vote should definitely not count. I don't think you'd find anybody who would disagree with that. But the problem is he's having that's not been the case. But he keeps on pursuing these, it's like the other day, Giuliani goes into court and the judge asks him, what's this case about? It's not a fraud case. Giuliani said that in court. And then he come out and to the public in the press and the media was like, that's why we had, again, we'll go back to the certified vote tally here in a minute. But comes out after saying that statement in court, comes out to the press and complains about the fraudulent vote. And I feel like he's just trying to incite people to be divisive, to divide people, to keep our nation divided. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's time to get past this, man. There's nothing there. Let's have a transition.
See, here's where I differ just a little bit. Because like I said, I don't really disagree with you on this, but I thought the conversation would be interesting. You've got 71, 72 million people out there who voted for Trump that right now think that the election was rigged. Probably not all of them. Some of them are like me that think like, look, go through, do the dance, go through, but eventually we're going to end up with Biden as our president, and that's fine.
Right.
But you've got 71 to 72 million people, over, I would say 75%, believe that this election was rigged. And I think it's important to go through this process. I don't think Trump should concede until the process is done, because the news agencies do not select our president. They may call it, and they've been accurate over the years because they have very advanced statistical models that they use, and that's fine. But if there is a question, then I think they should 100% go through the process. I don't think people should listen to anything Giuliani says. I don't think they should listen to anything Trump says right now. None of that matters. You go through the court system. You go through the legal process. And then whatever comes out, comes out. And at the end of the day, if they say, hey, look, this is certified, we have looked through this, we did not find any fraudulent ballots, the machines were working properly, we've certified all these, then I think that would put a lot of people's minds at ease as we transition to Biden, that it wasn't rigged, that it, like you said, the leaders are selected, not elected. And, you feel like if they could rig the election, they just put in there whoever they want. And so the fact that we're pressing this, I actually kind of like, because at the end of the day, I told you last week, at the end of the day, I think Biden's our president.
Sure.
I think that transition is going to happen. I think Trump will eventually step back once all this is done. And Biden will transition into being the president. But I do not mind that we're going through this process right now, because I can guarantee you that if Trump had won, that the Democrats will be doing this exact same thing right now. And that's okay with me too.
Very possible.
And yeah, and I mean, I would almost get like, I won't say I guarantee it, but I would, you know what I'm saying? It was very highly likely that they would. And so I feel like it's important that we go through this and that ultimately it ends up being certified. But I also agree with you that Giuliani, even Trump, Don Jr., Eric, everybody that's involved need to stop with the rhetoric. Just say, look, we're going to take this through the court system. We believe there was some fraud. We're going to take this through the court system, and we're going to make sure. We're going to make sure that somebody did not steal the election from the American people. And at the end of the day, like I said, I think that the end result of that is Biden is your next president, and that's fine. But he should concede and we should transition. That's where I don't necessarily agree. I think we need to go through the process and then figure out where we are. And then once we get that done, I mean, I heard it all night on CNN and those other places. We got to count every vote. Well, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're counting every vote. They're going to make sure that they were right. And once that's done and all the states have certified their votes, I think you'll see Trump transition. If not, the military will remove him.
So let me address a little bit what you said there. You're saying that, Trump got 71 million votes, which is a lot of votes. And you said that 75% of people that voted for Trump think the other side got a bunch of fraudulent votes.
Mm-hmm.
But why do you think the other side feels that way? Because that's what they've been told by the guy in charge. That's what they've been told by his team. That's why they feel that way.
Sure.
So it's just, what I'm saying is that's dangerous. They shouldn't be saying things like that, especially without it when you go in the court and you say, yeah, we got no evidence.
And I agree with you on that 100%.
Then you come out in a speech and say, oh, well, we got all kinds of evidence. These crazy judges won't. Bro, we know what you said in court. You said there was no evidence. We know there's no evidence. So what's wrong with conceding and even just with a speech and saying let's continue what you're doing in courts, and let's not continue to make sure our country is secure and not that your ego is being met, Trump. Mm-hmm. Let's make sure, let's put America first for the first time. I know you'll take issue with that. That's fine. But let's have a transition. Let's have Biden have the security briefings that he needs to have to keep us safe once his transition is complete. So you can't do nothing. You can do all those things and still continue what you're doing in the courts.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that. I think that it is time that we just need to make sure. Okay, Biden needs to start getting the security briefings. He needs to be able to get the briefings on COVID, the vaccines, everything that's going on. He needs to be able to get those. I don't disagree with you there. As far as Trump putting America first, of course, I disagree with that. But I mean, look, that's one thing we'll never agree on. So it's just so we'll go past that. So, but I don't think Trump should concede 100% because you're basically saying I lost at that point. At this point, in Trump's mind, whatever, he doesn't think he's lost. So you just ride the court thing out. As soon as the court thing's done, they'll have it done by mid-December, I think. And once that's done, if he's beat, he's beat. You concede, and then you move on. And, January 21st or whenever it is, Joe Biden will get sworn in as president. And then we'll see what happens next. Like I told you before, man, I hope Joe Biden kills it. I hope he does so well that I never want to vote for another Republican ever again. But I want to be damn sure that nothing was done. Because all we heard was Russia, 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 and that Trump, that they rigged the election. So let's just do it. Let's count the votes. Let's do our thing. And when it's all done, Biden will be my president. And like I said, like I always say, I'll go to work the next day, try to put somebody in debt, and we'll go.
So I don't know, like maybe you heard something different. And I never heard anybody say that Russia rigged the election. I heard that we had the outside influence from Russia. That's what I heard. As far as social media and things like that. And that's been proven to be a fact. So not that Russia rigged the election. Russia definitely influenced the election. I mean, there's zero denying that. But now, as far as going in and, hacking a vote machine or something like that, that's never happened.
Well, those vote machines, this is true because that was one of the things that I was really like, okay, you know how it is. It piqued my interest the most.
Sure.
Was like, okay, could you rig one of these voting machines? And that Dominion machine actually can be programmed to flip votes. That's why a lot of states didn't go with it, but a lot of states did. So do I think that happened and that caused Trump to lose the election? No, I think here's what I really think. Because, again, none of it makes any sense down ballot because so many Republicans won. They picked up so many houses in the House. They didn't lose the lead like they thought they would in the Senate. But it's what I said the other day is I think it's the Matt Bevin effect. I think a lot of people like Trump, but there were a whole lot of people who voted for Biden that didn't like Trump's rhetoric and didn't like his aggressive nature on Twitter. It just didn't seem presidential to them. And that's one of those where, and I think that's what beat him. Ultimately, I think it was close, but I think that's what beat him. Same thing that happened to Matt Bevin. Yeah. Matt Bevin was one of the best governors we've had in this state in a long, long time. He was just an ass. And he would say stupid things. He would make people mad. He was insensitive. And he got voted out because of the teachers and because of the crap he said about them. And every single Republican down below him won by big, huge numbers. And so I think there was just a vote. And I think that's what ultimately happened to Trump, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. And what's interesting about this is the pressure that these Republicans, the GOP, like Lindsey Graham, is trying to put on this pressure on these Republican, the Secretary of State of Pennsylvania is Republican. The Secretary of State in Georgia is Republican. They're trying to get these guys. I'm telling you right now, what Lindsey Graham did was an absolute felony. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
Like, I don't know how that guy is not in prison right now, like arrested, because what he did was absolutely showed zero, morals or values or respect for our democracy at all. And he should not be able to serve in office after.
None of those guys will ever go to jail, JD. Like I hear a lot.
I know that's true.
Yeah,
but they should.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of people. It's funny because I laugh and I say I'm the snowflake now. After you sent me that meme, I say that all the time, which made me laugh. You need to put that up on our. Need to send it to Eric and have him put it on the Facebook page and Instagram page because that freaking killed me. But.
We'll have everybody will drop us right now if I put that.
I know. But as far as like people are like, well, Trump's going to jail. He's doing this because he don't want to go to jail. Trump ain't going to jail. I've been hearing it's almost the flip of the conspiracy. I've been hearing for 4 years that Hillary was going to jail, that Obama was going to jail, that Biden was going to jail, that all these people were going to jail. Right. And there was evidence out there that made you think, okay, maybe. Same with Trump right now. There's some evidence out there that makes you think maybe Trump might go to jail. He ain't going to jail. Ain't none of them going to jail, dude. They're rich. They got rich lawyers. They got the best in the world defending them, and they ain't going to jail. None of them.
I mean, it's hard to argue with that, man, because we see.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
Time again that these guys can basically do whatever they want to and get away with it because they have so much money and so many assets. They can just tie.
And just power.
Yeah,
They just have power.
For years and years and years.
Yeah. It's just, and you hear a lot, like Sean Hannity. Like, there was a time I watched Hannity, but he just says the same crap over and over and over and over. Like, it drives me nuts. And I heard him say equal justice under the law 1 million times. And it's crazy. Wait a minute. What's this say? What's that say? Well, here, listen to these 2 podcasts, and it will change your mind about election hacking. Okay. That's something maybe interesting to listen to, JD.
Yeah. I think that's stuff, man. So here's the thing I want to say about the Dominion voting machines, though. And we knew they were, everybody knew that was involved in the election that they were using these voting machines. Trump knew it. Biden knew it. We all knew it. And then so that's like, and then complaining about it afterwards is like me going to the referee before the football game and be like, hey, we're not going to throw the ball. This whole game, we're not going to throw the ball. And the referee's like, yeah, but you can. And I'm like, no, we're not going to. And then the other team going, we're definitely going to throw the ball. And then I'm going, we'll play the game anyway, see how it happens. Mm-hmm. Then we play the game and they throw the ball and we get beat. And I'm like, yeah, but that guy threw the ball. That's not fair. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
It's the same thing with that election machine. We knew the whole time that they were going to use that election machine. Like, we knew it. The Trump knew it. We all knew it. Those are the rules going into the election. You can't complain after the election's over that you didn't like the rules when you knew the rules going into it. If you're going to participate, you gotta say you accept the rules.
I agree. I mean, like, I sort of agree, half agree. I agree with what you're saying. Those are the rules. And, if you knew those machines could be hacked and could be programmed to flip votes and different things. Brad sent me this really, really interesting thing about how they do the hacking, like how they flip the votes. I'll send it to you because it is kind of interesting just to watch. And, like I said, you won't believe a word of it, but it's still, I think it will be interesting to see just as far as expanding your mind a little bit about how they do it. So, no, I mean, I think at the end of the day, we both agree that we want one of the most important things about our country is the ability to vote for our leaders. We get to choose our leaders, and it just needs to be honest and fair. And I think if going through this court system, or the court cases like they're doing, if that makes that honest and fair, then I'm cool with it, and it'll get settled soon enough. And like I said, Biden will end up being our president.
So long term, I agree with you too, honestly, because I think what's going to happen is we're going to find out how secure this actually mail-in voting was.
Yeah,
and this is going to be what we go to in the future. So we don't have to stand in line on election day. These long lines, we don't have to show up in person. We don't have to take time off work. We can mail in. A month in advance and be fine.
I am all for the mail-in voting. I truly am. And I'm for the early voting because it was really nice to be able to go and there wasn't a huge crowd and I could just go in and vote and do my thing. I'd already made up my mind who I was voting for and, kind of go on my way. But the only thing that I have a problem with mail-in balloting, the only thing is the mass mailing of ballots. I just don't think you should do that. Like, I think there is a case that fraud could happen when you do that. If you request a ballot and you go through the proper certification, just like we did here in Kentucky didn't mass mail the ballots, but they made it readily available, told you how to do it, gave you all the instructions, and really pushed it. And it worked very well. We had a massive turnout. We had a big mail-in vote. You got to give credit, really, when we talk about all this partisanship. Our governor is a Democrat and our Secretary of State's a Republican, and they worked extremely well together on the whole mail-in ballot and the vote thing. And it worked really, really well in Kentucky. Like, it really did.
Yeah, and I think it's worked well everywhere. I think it's worked well everywhere because I think it gives me confidence learning what I've learned about the election since the election of this, this cycle. Dude, I've learned so much, man. Listen to these guys who really know what they're talking about, as far as a Republican pollster and Democratic pollster working together. Is this a valid ballot? Is everything in compliance with what we need? Yes or no, whatever. And I think it's been great, man. I think it's a good thing for America that more people are involved in the process.
I agree with that, JD. I can't disagree with it.
Yeah. So if Trump would have won and it had been the highest voter turnout in all time, I still would have felt like it's better that more people, and you know this about me, I think I want people involved in the process. Even if you don't vote the way I think you should vote, be involved. Have your voice heard.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's all the way around. I think it's a good thing, and I think these court cases are going to prove that know how secure it really was.
And if they do, man, I think that's great. It's the best thing that could happen for our country. It's the 100 best thing is to say, look, this was completely secure.
Right.
But the only thing I hope comes out of this is that we have uniform election rules and laws.
I think that's something that needs to happen. I really do.
Yes. I mean, every state, if everybody agrees, let's do it like Pennsylvania did and Nevada did, a mass mail ballot, fine. Let's just agree that we're going to do it.
Yeah. Looking at the Republican over here with a centralized government guy.
Yeah. Right. No, I mean, like, let's just agree that this is what we're going to do, because that was a fiasco, man. I mean that night.
I think there needs to be uniformity. I really do believe that.
Yeah, I do too.
I feel like the ballots should look the same in every state. The machines should work the same in every state. The mail-in ballots, you're either going to give everybody a ballot or you're not in every state. But I just think right now that Trump's in a bad spot because he can't prove that, any of the claims that he's making, he can't prove them.
Nothing, not yet. I mean, I haven't seen anything yet, dude. I've been trying to keep up with it.
He's running out of time. These states are about to certify, man.
They're certifying, and and like I said, it is what it is, man. And I don't know. I've got other theories, but I want to move on because I want to get to this next topic because this relates to our state.
One thing before you go on. Put Chris Reelward, that last comment. Put that last comment up. Mail-in should be counted first to speed it up. So here's my response to that, Chris. I think there's nothing wrong with counting first. I think it's awesome. But I'd rather have it right than have it fast. And that's the best way I know how to say it. I don't care if it takes a week or 2 weeks. Let's make sure we're doing it right instead of doing it fast. And that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
But in Pennsylvania, the Republican legislators, the reason that they didn't count till first. They wanted them counted. They couldn't count them until the day after 12 o'clock election night. They couldn't count any of the mail-in ballots. Go ahead. Oh
no! Did you say it was Republican legislature? I didn't think that was right. I thought it was the governor and them. Yeah, no, it was the governor and somebody else that actually they didn't get that voted on by the legislature. They took it to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, and the Pennsylvania Supreme Court deemed that they could change the election rules, but it never actually got voted on by the legislature because that was Trump's big push.
I think it did.
That's the big push. Let's look into that because I think I'm not saying you're wrong. What I thought it to be was that the reason they were pushing it is that they had done something illegal was because it was never voted on by the legislature. And the legislature is the people who have the power to change those voting laws, but it was done by the Democratic governor and somebody else, and they took it to the Supreme Court. They voted yes, but that's not how it was actually supposed to work. So that's why Alito told them to stop.
I think it was actually voted on by the Republican legislature. But it'd be interesting to see. And my dad makes a good point, man. I want to read this. He messaged me. He said, U.S. Constitution gives states authority to run elections. Without a constitutional amendment, it can't be changed. So that's interesting, man. But I disagree with what the Constitution says there. I think we need to make an amendment and change that.
Yeah, I do too.
Uniformity. That's a great thing, man, about the Constitution and our founding fathers. It
lives and breathes, man.
Our founding fathers were the vision they had was unbelievable.
Yes.
Could they see iPads and iPhones and all this stuff? No, but they understood that people don't change, man, and power makes people who they are. I mean, we just are who we are with power, and their vision, man, to be able to create a document that can be amended and changed. Man, what smart people we had, man.
Yeah,
from the birth of our nation.
Yeah, I agree, 100%, man. All right, so we are back essentially as a state. We're, for lack of a better term, we're back on lockdown. Nobody can go back to school. It is going to be all virtual until after the end of the year. The restaurants are now down to zero capacity inside. They can still do takeout, but can't have any indoor dining. I think we all knew it was coming because of the spikes. Now, I still disagree. The spikes are in positive cases. There have been a few more deaths, but at the end of the day, I don't know. I still don't agree with why we're doing it. But you had, and I forget the county now, starts with an M. Anyway, down towards the western part of the state, basically you had these two restaurants post, look, I know what the governor said, but we're staying open. People can come in. We're doing it. We don't care. Right. And my guess is because you're seeing these restaurants close all over the place. And basically this is the final straw, right? This is the straw that will break them, and they'll have to file bankruptcy, and they will probably not reopen. So I understand the desperation of people and saying, what we ran into it with the community center, right? We had 2 really good events planned.
Oh man, I swear, I makes me want to claw my eyes out.
Right? We had 2 really good events planned.
Let's talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. This past weekend, we had the Just Add Bourbon chili cook-off, and we had a lot of there was a lot of people who were interested in doing that. And then we were going to watch Kentucky get beat down afterward in the movie theater. And we would have ended up making somewhere probably around $500 to $1,000, which we desperately need.
Mm-hmm.
The big event was JD and the Just Add Bourbon podcast had landed Donnie Baker to come to Inez and put on a comedy show. And you were going
to MC it.
And JD was going to MC it. And we would have made a substantial amount of money.
That we definitely need
from that. So, and when it came out, JD and I happened to meet down at the community center, and we went in and we sat down and talked. I was freaking out, wasn't I, JD? I was like, oh my God. I said, we're going to lose this community center. We have to, we're hanging on by a thread, and we've got some things that have to come through and happen in order for us to get through the first of the year and get the new business model in place so we can survive. Well, we need those events. We need them in a bad way. And if we lose the community center, guys, it's gone forever. It'll just be another empty building sitting in Inez.
Maybe. It may be something worse than that.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So it's, so I was freaking out. And I had the laptop open. I was like, JD, read this. Make sure this is what this says. And so JD was like, all right, calm down, dude. Calm down. And so I finally got calmed down, and we're hoping that we've got some things figured out, and I've been able to negotiate myself to kind of sustain us through December. But anyway, so I understand the fear that people have, and this is about a community center, which is a big deal. But most of what these people are concerned about is whether or not they're going to be able to feed their kids, dude. Their kids aren't going to have Christmas. They're not going to be able to work. They're going to lose their businesses. I mean, these are the life-changing things. And so I understand the freak out. But if the governor says it, we canceled. I mean, we had a dance that was controversial. We knew that it was going to be controversial, but we stayed 100% within the guidelines of what the governor had mandated. Once the governor came down and said, no events, and I called the governor's office and was basically told, don't even think about it. And
we were thinking the same thing.
Because I asked him straight up, I said, look, what if I just don't pay attention to this and go on? Because we're going to lose this center. If we listen to his orders, we're going to lose this center. What do I do? What happens? And they were like, you don't want to find out. I was like, okay. So apparently in this county on Saturday, they opened up Friday, had dining, we're packed. Saturday, we're packed. And then the state shows up. And now they're shut down for indoor dining. So we got to see, but I thought they didn't leave Brashear a choice, really. While I still disagree, and I will never agree with how we're handling this, I will say this. I would hate to be in Andy's shoes.
Sure.
Absolutely. Because those are not easy decisions. And he knows, JD, he knows that he's putting people out of business. The unemployment, people, dude, still have not got their unemployment. Our unemployment system is jacked.
Yeah, it's been a mess.
Yeah. So I get it. But you can't go against the law. Without the law, we don't really have a functioning society. Right. And so I get it. But at the end of the day, I think everybody had to do the right thing. And look, we're going to be shut down to at least December 13th. Hopefully things get open back up. But the biggest complaint, JD, what had people freaking out the most, I think everybody knew this was coming, is when he said only 2 households in your house during Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
People lost their minds. And that's another one of those situations where I'm like, look, you're overreacting a bit. This is one of those things that they're not going to enforce. You can have 50 people in your house. Do you think the sheriff's going to show up and arrest everybody?
Up, bro. You're fine.
No. Everybody's good. State police will be at the house eating turkey too. And, we're not worried about that. He was making a suggestion, trying to maybe make somebody think, okay, let's not get together and slow the spread. Now, I rambled on. Go, JD.
No, I think, put Chris Moore's comment up on the screen, the last one. I think that's a really good point.
I agree.
One thing about Andy Brashear, man, he's really shown that he has a backbone. and he believes what he believes, man. He's going to do what he thinks is right. He says, I believe he is doing this, even though he knows it may cost him re-election. And you can't disagree with that, man. Andy Brashear, that's a strong-willed guy, man. He stands up for what he believes in. I'll give him all the props in the world for that, even though it's obviously not popular for anybody, especially in the state that's as red as Kentucky, right? That's definitely it's not a popular thing to do. But it puts us in a terrible bind in the community center.
Yep.
And I understand, the mom and pops who are struggling to put food on the table because their livelihood is the restaurant, their small business. I understand that, man. It's tough. Which is also why I think I'm glad that Joe Biden has a plan going forward. And what Joe was talking about doing is paying people to stay home, which makes a lot of sense to me, man. He's like, if you want people to stay home, then you're going to have to pay them to stay home. They can't afford to not be at work. So, but if you pay them to stay home, they can afford to stay home. And that makes, that's what other countries have done in Europe that are now having very small percentage rates of COVID. They paid people to stay home. And that's what we're going to have to do. It sucks for us. I was excited about the chili cook-off. I thought that was going to be a good time.
We had an awesome trophy.
Dude, the trophy is the bomb diggity. I ain't gonna lie. Yep. Amanda Penix said she had the trophy wrapped up. She said that right on our page. So that's confidence right there.
Yes, sir.
Definitely looking forward to Donnie Baker. I was looking forward to get up and tell some dick jokes in front of the Martin County crowd. That's kind of what I do.
Yeah.
But I think if we all done better, man, we wouldn't be here. And myself included, if we all done better.
Here's the thing, though, JD. Like, when I go out now, even me, Mr. Anti-Masker, I wear a mask pretty much everywhere I go now.
Yeah. You're not everybody. I went to Evans Hardware the other day. There was nobody wearing a mask.
Really? See, I was I'm in the post office just about every day. I was in Evans's the other day. Everybody had one on. Like, it was like everywhere I go, I see people with masks on. Like, I see more people with masks on than not. And I actually agree with this. That's the only thing about your comment about Biden, because I think you're right. You're going to have to incentivize people to stay at the house by paying them. But where will that money come from? That's a great question.
It's the same thing that we've done, man, that we've been doing. We're going to go in debt for it.
Yeah.
Same thing Trump done, and same thing Obama done, same thing George W. Bush done. Our national debt's going to climb, but we got to get over this. People's dying, though, man. This is terrible. Like, this sucks. I hate this. I am so done with COVID. I can't even express it. My vocabulary will not allow me to. I am done with it. But I also get it, man. Like, me and you are on the same page, I think, as this. With the dance and stuff, we understand the concerns.
Mm-hmm.
But we also understand that lives have to go on. Like, it's just a hard balance to find, man. And that balance, I think, is the problem. That there is no balance. The balance is social distancing, wear a mask, washing your hands, and people have failed to do it on the scale that we need to do it to reduce, the cases. That's the problem. It's like, if you give these people the freedom to not do it, they're definitely not going to do it. I'm telling you, man, I've seen a lot of people, and I'm going to tell you right now, myself included, I've been out without a mask.
I think that's funny because I've wore a mask more, and I argued against it harder in the beginning than any of us did. And it's just one of those deals where I think I understand now. It's just easy to put the mask on.
No, it is. That's not. But what happens is I get out and I'll lose my mask somewhere. I'm out driving around the truck all day at my job, and my mask is out. It falls out of the vehicle, or I've lost. I don't know, whatever. But I've really got to run in here and get this part for, whatever.
Right. And
so I run in there and get it real quick, and nobody says a word. I've never one time been turned away from a store, from a restaurant, or anything for not wearing a mask.
Now, and my feelings is I think we ought to just be wide open. Let's just go. And, like I said, the biggest thing is the rise that I've seen. There is going to be a rise in deaths. And I'll argue this. Like Europe, for example, they got a spike right now too. But their kids have never stopped going to school. And because school's too important, and the science does not support the kids not being in school.
That's actually, man, I think the CDC agrees with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing. The science doesn't support it.
It's mind-boggling. I don't know. It's weird.
It's just because the death rate amongst children is not high. Now, you had a 15-year-old die somewhere, and God, that would kill me, right? If you said, okay, I was the governor, and I said, okay, here's what we're doing, and then somebody died, you would feel that big, right? But you're making.
What if as your kid you sent to school without a mask?
I do not like Brashear's policies at all.
Right.
But I think Brashear's done a pretty decent job. I think he's done the best he could.
Yeah.
And it's not popular.
It's a bad situation. Period.
Yeah. And I say the same thing about Trump. I think Trump did the best he could. And I know you disagree, but just like Andy, I think Andy did the best he could. And he's making unpopular decisions. It's, I get it because I am so over it, dude. Ashton is quarantined right now.
Again.
For the third time because she was over at dance and one of the girls in her elite dance squad tested positive. Ashton never even speaks to this girl, but she's quarantined. Health department called Amy. Health department called the school. She didn't get to go to the game Friday night and cheer.
Oh yeah.
She wasn't going to get to go. Yeah, she wasn't going to get to go to the panorama. She was so sad. And it's just like what we saw at that dance is those kids were overjoyed to be out and to shake their booties and do all that, even though they can't dance. And what they do is not dancing. It is. They were overjoyed, man. And I can't get over what I saw. And then you're talking about like these lessons, man. It's hard on the teachers. It's hard on the parents. It's hard on the kids. I mean, our kids need to be in school. Like I disagree with that so hard that you need to get our kids in school. And if you say, okay, our kids are going to school, they come home and then they're home the rest of the evening. You can't go anywhere else. Okay. I want my kid in school. I want my kid learning. I want my kid in class instruction. That's what I want. And I just disagree. Like we could talk another hour about how I disagree with everything that we're doing and what the numbers say to me and all those things. But at the end of the day, I think Brashear's doing the best that he can with a bad situation. And, we'll just see what happens going forward. So, all right, JD, we're at 57 minutes right now, and I want to do this last topic because
all right, let's do it.
I want to, it's Thanksgiving's this week.
Oh, yeah.
And I want the people watching, along with JD and I, what are your favorite sides at Thanksgiving? Like, what's a staple? But the reason this came up on KSR this week, and Shannon, the dude who's the producer, said that one of their staples he said two things. And I was like, what is this guy talking about? He's from Bullitt County. And he said banana croquettes. And a banana croquette is banana with Miracle Whip and peanuts. Okay. And I thought that sounds gross.
Yeah. That does not sound appealing to me at all.
And then he said they have dumplings without chicken. And I'm just here to tell you that's un-American.
What?
How do you have just dumplings? I mean, I like the dumplings. All right, so let's put a couple up here, JD. All right, so Chris Moore says stuffing. Eric Phelps says you have to have the cranberry sauce out of the can, right, Eric?
That's the only way I have cranberry sauce.
That's right. Now, my favorite is the stuffing, right? That's my number one side.
Dude, my mom makes the best dressing. Okay, so here's the other thing. Do you call it dressing or stuffing? Is it dressing?
Both.
Yeah, I feel the same way. The same way.
Yeah, both.
Same thing. My mom makes the absolute, dude, it's so good. You got to try her stuff sometime.
Listen, Amy actually stuffs the bird, right? Mm-hmm. So she stuffs it, and this is a recipe that her mom made, and this started back with her mom when we first got married. They bake it all night on this crazy low temperature. So when you wake up on Thanksgiving morning,
oh my God, the house is filled.
Yeah, and you could just smell it, right? And all those juices would be into the dressing / stuffing, right? So I would open the oven, open the thing. Amy's mom would get me the dressing / stuffing out of, and I could eat it right then. So by the time dinner came along, I wasn't even hungry. And
best.
and then she would take, they'd take the bird back, set it on, get it carved up, get it on the plate. And then you would have all this stuffing / dressing, Joe Hammond, into it would be in all that grease and all that fat, and I would just sit there and eat it. It's the only time of the year that I do it, and it is the best thing I've ever had. So I say deep fried turkey. Just Josh is saying deep fried.
That's not
Nothing
side though.
better.
That's the main. That's the main.
What's your side, Josh? Like, what's your favorite side?
So I'm gonna tell you, it's the stuffing, and boy, you gotta have some deviled eggs. That's my jam.
Oh yeah,
I love my deviled eggs, bro.
I like deviled eggs too, brother.
Oh, Thanksgiving, man, that's where it's at for me.
The other thing, dessert wise, my favorite, like all the desserts that everybody makes, but I love pumpkin pie. Like I freaking love it, and I eat it one time a year. Well, really twice, because usually we end up having one at Christmas. But Thanksgiving and Christmas is when I eat pumpkin pie. I haven't had a bite of pumpkin pie since then, and I cannot wait.
So let me ask you, growing up, man, like you was on the other side of the. What's up, Glenn? Glenn Fleming coming on.
Hey, Glenn, what's up, dude?
You living on the other side of the hill from me. Did you guys go to Warfield IGA or I guess at the time it was ShopRite?
Mm-hmm.
On Thanksgiving? Do you remember how crazy it was the day before Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Man, that place was absolutely a madhouse. Oh, and what about? We got to talk about this. Man. I know we're running a little bit over topic. Deep fried kraut balls. That's it.
David, I don't even know what that is.
Me and David Kraut are no longer friends. You eat kraut balls.
I don't even know what a kraut ball is. And deep fried. Look, as long as it's deep fried, right, David Crumb? That's what I'm hearing.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, right here is well daggum. Yeah, the deviled eggs is the best. Got to do 2 dozen. Dude, like deviled eggs is one of those things that if you don't watch me, I will eat like 18 of them.
You don't even know it though, right? Like you just
pop. I love them.
And my mom makes so check this out. Here's another thing my mom makes. She takes like those what are the garden onions? You know what I'm talking about? The long green onions.
Mm-hmm.
She takes a piece of ham with Philadelphia cream cheese and rolls it up and cuts it in little circles. You ever eat those things?
I believe I have, but that sounds delicious.
They're amazing, man. I love it.
Are y'all eating at your mom's house? I might swing by for a minute.
So what's weird is like, my mom, so my aunt has COVID right now.
Oh, really?
In Ohio. And my first cousin has COVID in Ohio. And my mom and stepdad are, obviously healthy, not healthy. So they're kind of shutting it down this year. And I think it's going to be us 3, where I'm going to grab my plate, come out here or whatever. Eric Phelps is saying pinwheels. That's what they're called. That's what they're called, pinwheels. Yeah. Okay.
And then Joe Hammond has plates just designed for deviled eggs. Me too, Joe Hammond.
That's gamemanship right there.
That's right.
But anyway, Thanksgiving's my time to shine. It's what I love to do. I'm an eater. Michael Crumb makes deviled eggs, fried dressing. What?
He makes good. He's saying he makes great deep fried dressing.
Oh, make great deep fried dressing.
Well, Michael just lives down the road from me now. I may have to stop by.
Yeah, I'm convinced it's Michael Crumb's place to be.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Chicken curry, the best.
Chicken curry. That's a British thing. We know, right, Glenn?
Curry, the best in the world.
Hey, Glenn, come see us.
Chicken anything, I'm down with it, brother.
Yes, sir, brother. But no, like for me, the one thing that I always thought was kind of odd that we had, my Granny Klein, like we always had to have 2 Thanksgivings, right, when I was a kid, because you had my dad's side of the family. We went to Granny Klein's at noon and ate dinner, and then we would go over to my Granny Margaret's over in Beauty at like 4 or 5, right? So, I mean, like I shine too, JD. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's my time to get it on and do what I do best, which is chow down. Oh, cornbread salad, Kelly. I like cornbred salad too.
Cornbread salad. I don't even know what that is.
What is you're missing out, dude. You need to get on that.
Yeah, Kelly, can you hook me up? Because I love me some cornbread and I love salad. As long as you got a ranch on, I'm good. But cornbread salad. Oh, my mom makes an awesome green bean casserole too, man. I love
some green bean casserole. Yeah. Broccoli casserole, I like.
Nice. Potato casserole.
Sweet potatoes. Oh man, yeah. Now you're talking my game.
I'm not a sweet potato guy, man.
Oh wait a minute, what is this? Hold on. Really? Look, I guess you can deep fry anything, right?
Deep fried Oreos and Nutter Butters.
Nutter Butters, yeah.
Supposed to be. They were killer. Dude, Nutter Butters are my favorite cookie probably ever.
I love Nutter Butters too. So anyway, what I was getting to with my Granny Klein's, Granny Klein made fried chicken. Like homemade fried chicken. Yeah, like go get the chicken, kill it. Let's have some fried chicken.
Fresh fried chicken.
And like it was great. And like that was the only thing different. Like she had the turkey and the dressing and all the traditional, stuff. My Granny Margaret always had soup beans. Chicken and dumplings. She always had those.
That's what I had today, by the way. Chicken dumplings.
Lucky guy.
My mom's, I'm telling you, man, she's a master in the kitchen, bro. I ain't never moving.
He ain't going nowhere. That's where he gets his grub. And I'm sure she don't want you to. Like I feel like now I'm gonna have to at least make a stop. Like I'm gonna have to stop by.
Get a plate, bro.
Yeah, come by and get me a plate with all this good food.
So what about Black Friday? Do you all do like? I feel like Black Friday has kind of been out of control, man. Like, do you feel like it's impeded on, or intruded? I guess is the better word. Intruded on the holidays. Thanksgiving.
I almost feel like it's kind of become part of it. Like like we would all get together, and then a lot of times the girls in my family, after everybody ate, nobody rushed or did anything like that. But, late that night, probably 10, 11 o'clock, they would leave and go get a hotel room. They had a hotel room booked wherever they're going to be, and they would go and have a big night and then get up early. Yeah, and then go to work. Now, I do a lot of online shopping. Like I'll hit it up pretty hard on Black Friday. Right. Once the deal starts, especially with electronics and some of the things that the kids want, I'll hit that up pretty hard. But outside of that, no, I don't. You wouldn't catch me near. One time, Ashton was probably, I want to say she was 5, 6 years old, and there was this thing that she wanted, and you could not get it anywhere. And they were supposed to have it at Walmart. I mean, it was either me go out at midnight and try to get this thing, or I'm going to have to pay $250 for a $10 toy.
Oh, let's go get it.
So me, Granddad, and little Jimmy, Amy's brother, all loaded up and went down to the Walmart in Louisa because they said they had one. And I snuck in the back of that store, true story, snuck in the back of the store and was looking around these pallets before they opened them. And I found them. And I ripped that sucker open, grabbed one before it even went down, and stood there and waited till 12:01 and then went and checked out. And then I come an ace this close to taking every single one they had and going and sell them on eBay for $250. I didn't.
Yeah, that's a Jimmy Dunker move right there.
Yeah, I was fixing to do it. Like I was there because they had about 5, and I thought, I can pay for Christmas right here, boys.
Right.
And I didn't because I thought there's probably some other little girl like Ashton out there and some dad that's wanting to come out and find, this toy for the kid, and I just couldn't do it. So
that's also a Jimmy Dunker move too, man.
Yeah, I just couldn't do it. So it was now if I can make some money, I'm gonna make some money. But it was Christmas, and like I said, I was out and I just couldn't do that to some kid. So
there's always that one item, I guess. Have you ever it's always weird to me, man, to see people celebrate Thanksgiving. Then the next day they're knocking it out in Walmart towel aisle.
I know, right? Yeah.
Nothing says thankful like boxing somebody in the Walmart, linen section for.
No, I will tell you that's the one thing that about COVID and about the shutdowns that I actually have a problem with. Because I get it. At this point, I get it, right? I want it to be over. I'm almost willing to do anything for it to be over. But that is the one thing, like Black Friday, Walmart, Target, all these big stores will be open, but the mom and pop can't be. And that, I think, sucks. Like, I think they ought to shut down all the big box stores and let all the small businesses be open.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. Like,
Joe.
No, that's awesome.
I tried to bribe a middle-aged dude at GameStop for his place in line to buy my wife an Xbox. That's awesome, Joe. That is. Because I would do that too, bro.
You know exactly what you're talking about.
But me and Joe know each other. Me and Joe used to hang some. Yeah. Little Joe and I used to hang a bit. So, we kind of know. But, no, man. I don't know. This is the first year I'm really happy.
I feel like it's intruded on the holiday a little bit. Thanksgiving used to be about football and eating and family and, being thankful. Now it's about find that deal, which is fine. Like it's just a new tradition, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't like.
Well, it's commerce, dude.
I don't like that the stores are opening up on Thanksgiving Day. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like there's people going to work at Walmart those days that get taken away from their families. I don't like that.
I don't either. I think everybody should be closed on Thanksgiving and Christmas. I mean, you can wait till the next day, open up. People are still going to show up, and buy the stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be any different. So, all right, JD. Again, dude,
it's so easy, man.
We do this? Like, it's so easy. We just show up and start blabbing, and we love. I mean, we were talking about the other day, like the fact that you guys can now comment and we can see them, and we can and it's an interactive show where you're part of our discussion. I love. Like I hope as you guys are watching this that you do this more and more. Tell your friends, hop on here, interact with us, because JD and I really dig that. And look, JD, I have a ball doing this. We talk about it every week, but I cannot believe it's been an hour and 10 minutes. Like, I cannot believe it.
And, I appreciate the guys, in here commenting and stuff. Like, the support we get is just crazy, right?
Oh, awesome. It's unbelievable.
The downloads and stuff we've been getting. And I'm excited about where JB's going, man. So,
me too. And hopefully we got some exciting stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, Jimmy Don's good, man. Like, wait, you talk too much, man.
I know.
No, you do. I love it, man. I swear I love it. Like, I had a good time. And it's always like, I can't believe it's been an hour and 10 minutes already. We just got started.
I know, right? Well, I talked for 45 of it, so I guess it should have, it should feel like it went quick.
I feel like I talked about that. I don't know.
Well, I get on these rants. Like, we were talking.
You do rant a little bit.
I know. Well, like, we were going at it, over Trump and Biden, and you all stopped a perfectly good rant with facts. And I was like, do not stop my rant with a fact ever again. Just let me go. Facts are optional. Just let me go. I was on a roll about gas being $5 a gallon.
Yeah, right. That was lovely. I can't believe you didn't call me fake news.
right. Oh, I loved it, man. Oh, cool. Joe, we love you too, brother. And happy holidays to all of you. We hope you all have the best Thanksgiving ever. Get together with your family. Don't get arrested by the popo because you have more than 2 families in your house.
Love y'all. Show love to your family this weekend, man.
Absolutely.
Y'all, and appreciate who you got in your life, man. For sure.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Guys, we thank you. We wish you a happy Thanksgiving. And, of course, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music. Eric's still killing it on the Instagram. That boy is climbing more mountains, and he's doing it in Kentucky gear. So mad props to him. He's a straight up Kentucky football fan now too, dude. He's a straight up Big Blue Nation.
You gotta hurry up. I'm about to piss all over myself.
Oh, well, you can take off. Hold on. Let me just keep talking. Hold on.
No, go ahead, bro.
No, guys, as we always end our show, from myself and from JD, no matter how bad your week's been, no matter how bad your day's going, if you just add bourbon, it always gets a little bit better. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Love you guys. Appreciate the support.